Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video, and I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so right now the New York Giants are a complete mess. We are in the news when we're not even playing football. We're not even playing football. We're in the news. They're talking about the whole Wink Martindale thing that I referenced, where Wink Martindale got upset that Daboll was firing Drew Wilkins and Drew Wilkins' brother, and they were supposed to be Wink's right hand man, and they weren't listening to Daboll, so he said, "I'm firing you all." And Wink Martindale got up, cussed him out, got on the plane, first thing smoking to Florida, and got up out of there and said, "Hey, release me or fire me." And he wanted his severance, which was about $3 million. So that whole thing went on. He eventually got his $3 million and they paid him and they mutually just split, which opens Wink up to be able to go anywhere he wants to go. Still no news on where he's going, actually. In all of this, Brian Daboll is kind of seen as the level-headed guy, and then of course some reports come out that say that Brian Daboll is just a complete crazy person on the sideline, which makes some sense because we see it on TV. A call doesn't go the way Brian Daboll wants it to go, and all of a sudden the dude is yelling at the top of his lungs. He's throwing the headset around. He's yelling at the referee. All of this is going on as football is being played. He's not even watching the game. He's just still on the sideline yelling. So it's obvious that Brian Daboll has some type of anger management issues. Now, this isn't me calling for his job, but this is something we have to take note of. So there's truth. I think there's a little truth to most stories. I won't say to every story because sometimes people just lie. But in this case, the reports that are coming out about Brian Daboll not being able to control his temper and not having constructive criticism on the sideline adds up because I don't see I don't see much constructive things going on the sideline at times where the dude loses his temper. So that's one thing to consider. And then Russ Salzberg, a guy that's on Big Blue Kickoff Live, a guy that's worked for the Giants for a little while now, who's probably plugged in more than 99% of reporters are going to be because he actually works for the organization. And he's a guy that just pretty much says whatever he wants. I mean, the guy like literally just does what he wants, says what he wants. So he came out and said that the reason that Drew Wilkins, probably a big reason that he was fired, is because Drew Wilkins leaked more information than he came up with something funny, some analogy, but also Drew Wilkins is seen as a guy that just leaks information and makes things up. So that is doubly not good that Drew Wilkins was on this staff leaking information to the media, building up stories, all those kinds of crazy things. And at the end of the day, while I think that a lot of this is a lot of finger pointing towards Brian Daboll, it's never a good look in this situation. And I'll say this not to say that, oh, Brian Daboll is losing the team. He's losing his coaches. He's losing the locker. I don't think any of that is going on because you saw the way this team fought at the end of this season. This last like 8 games where we wanted them to just tank and they wouldn't do it. They wanted to win games. They wanted to go out there and win games for Brian Daboll. They put up a lot better effort than the Philadelphia Eagles did as they collapsed. And they wanted to go out and win games. So I don't see it as it's such a horrible thing. And also multiple players have come out and say that they just didn't know of any sort of tension between Daboll and Martindale, which shows both of their professionalism because they could have very easily let things leak over into their daily kind of coaching things. But why is all this going on under Brian Daboll? Wink Martindale, apparently, there's players saying this. Wink Martindale has things going on where he's not listening to his players. They're getting frustrated with the defense. They're getting frustrated with some of them, how they're being used. Kayvon Thibodeau is probably upset that he keeps dropping back into coverage when he's supposed to be a pass rusher. You really haven't seen much progression with Drew Wilkins with these edges. They've not really improved really at all. The defensive line has improved. The secondary guys, they play well. But as far as the edge rusher goes, I mean, it's just a sieve. It's nothing there. Like, you got Kayvon Thibodeau, you got Aziz. Aziz looks worse, although he's coming off of injuries all the time. And Kayvon Thibodeau, while he had probably his best game of his career this year against, what was it, Washington, after those people said those things about him, he has not been consistently as good as he was last year, which is no good. His coach is not getting the best out of him. His coach is not getting him to improve. So all these things are concerning from that aspect. And then why are you letting these coaches undermine you and just do whatever they want and report to Wink instead for the entirety of the year? Why is that going on for an entire year? Why is Wink Martindale not being fired a lot sooner? So these are all things that come to mind here, but it just really just speaks to the sort of dysfunction that's been going on here for a while. I mean, just a couple of years ago, you got Joe Judge and Mark Colombo about to fight in the hallway, or maybe they did fight. There's a ton of reports that said they fought. Some of them say it was about to be a fight. It just got heated. But just a ton of crazy things that are going on the New York Giants. You got reports again, like I said, where John Mara is just like putting on the cape for Daniel Jones and making sure that he can't be put off of the team in past years. There's reports saying that John Mara is not for the Giants drafting a quarterback. And, you know, he would almost veto that because he loves Daniel Jones so much. And then there's reports just saying that the Giants are interested in a quarterback. So put as much credence into those types of things as you want. But I just think at this point, you replace the general manager, you replace the head coach. I think you got to do the triple-headed thing and just replace the quarterback. I've already gone into my reasons why. This is not all Daniel Jones' fault, why the Giants are this way, but he does deserve part of the blame, and I think he needs a new destination. I was just talking to a Falcons fan earlier today, and I'm thinking that he would be a really good addition to the Falcons because they're kind of all just like almost wrapped up for a quarterback to just be inserted there and just go. So that could be a possible destination for him. But also, I just think this Giants team needs a quarterback who is just transcendent. They need a quarterback that is so transcendent that he's able to supersede all of the dysfunction. Like CJ Stroud. Think about the Texans. I mean, Deshaun Watson, that whole situation, the owner basically blackmailed Deshaun Watson. It seemed like they already knew about it. And once Deshaun, wanted a contract, or it just seemed like once things went south, the Texans just leaked that information, which just says like, listen, like, are you leaking this information because you want the victims to be heard, or are you leaking this information because contract talks didn't go the way you wanted them to go? So all those things that get said is like the Texans are seen as a complete joke. Nobody expected them to even win 3 or 4 games this year. And CJ Stroud comes in there and turns the team around. Joe Burrow comes there, turns the team around. Lamar Jackson got to the Ravens, and they weren't really the worst team in the league, but you saw the immediate impact he had. Andrew Luck got to the Colts. You saw the immediate impact he got. RG3, before the injury, got to the Redskins. You saw the immediate impact that he had. So I think the Giants need one of those guys. They need a Caleb Williams. They need a Drake May. They need a Jaden Daniels. They need a Michael Penix. A guy that's going to come in there. And I'm not saying all of them are going to be that guy, but a guy that has an opportunity to come in there and be a transcendent player who can really just lift that team up and at least give us a chance to get out of the doldrums and just the joke that has been New York Giant football for like the past decade, or now a decade and a year, going back to 2013. So please, Joe Shane, I don't care what John Mara says. Even if you get fired outright after making a pick, you will get another GM job. If you draft a quarterback and that guy ends up being a superstar, you will get another GM job. If John Mara says, I don't want you to draft a quarterback, and you do it anyway, you'll get another job because they'll see, the rest of the league will say John Mara is just crazy. So take the quarterback that you want. Brian Daboll develop the quarterback and take the quarterback that you want, and let's get this thing going. Like, we got to get some sort of stability going on because the team is starting to get more and more pitiful and embarrassing to watch as a New York Giants fan. So you guys let me know what you're thinking of the state of this team. We're going to have free agency coming up. We're going to have the Senior Bowl. The draft content is coming soon. As I've said before, Jaden Daniels' video will probably be coming first. Penix is already in the works as well. So those are two quarterback videos that are coming. Of course, Caleb Williams will be there. Drake May will be there. JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix. I'm thinking of starting with the quarterbacks this year, going to the wide receivers, because that is probably where the Giants would lean to if these quarterbacks are all gone and they don't like any. And then, probably looking at the offensive line and some of the other positions. And I'll get to a lot of these other positions. But you guys let me know what you're thinking of the state of the New York Giants. And stay tuned for New York Giants football content in the offseason. You made it this deep into the video. Come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.